I've never faced an issue that has been such a hotbed of politics. Water, I mean, you've heard all of the quotes in the past about what a tough issue water is, and it is a tough issue. But immigration, when you lead the charge across the country, you get hit from the left, you get hit from the right. Sometimes I get hit from people in the middle as well. But I believe the future of our country, a nation of immigrants, especially this week of all weeks, when we're celebrating our independence, you realize the history of our great nation. What so many have given so much to create such a wonderful country. We've got to fix our broken immigration system. It has been broken for well over 3 decades now. It is a multi-generational problem. We've had kids that have been brought across the border to no fault of their own, that have had brothers and sisters that have graduated from our schools. Many of these kids are now have kids of their own, some grandkids. It is a multi-generational problem, and it is time to fix it. We've got to make sure that we start with border security. We owe it to the American public that we have a secure border. In January, I went to the southern border in Texas. I saw that where we had unaccompanied minors coming across the Rio Grande. We need to make sure that we have a secure border, not only along Texas, but a fence doesn't fix everything. There are things that we can do to secure our border by repositioning a lot of the surveillance equipment that we had in Afghanistan and Iraq, by working with the military over in Mexico and our southern border to make sure that we aren't having the drugs line up across our border and being carried across, but we make sure that our fences aren't being torn down, and we actually have the equipment to verify and to guarantee to the American public that we know who is crossing our border and what our detain and retention rates are. But border security doesn't solve our problem. It doesn't even begin to solve our problem. We have to address the challenges within our border. And there will be some that will push for internal security. That means E-Verify. That's verifying every job that we have, which I think is an important step. But we can't forget that we have 11.5, almost 12 million people here today that have had expired visas, that have come across to seek a better life, that have now worked in our communities for decades and now have kids here. We need to solve our problem and have a realistic dialogue about what we do and what our future forward is. How do we fix the current system? Now, one small piece of that is the Enlist Act. I've introduced a bill to allow our dreamers, the kids that have graduated from our high schools, to be able to serve in the military. You want to show your patriotism to this great country? There's no better way than to wear the cloth of our great nation, put your life on the line for this community and for this country. And I think the Enlist Act is something that should be championed by all. I've served in the military. I spent 16 years in the Air Force. I served the Filipinos that were able to gain their citizenship in that process. Uncles, aunts served in the military. My grandfather. Through the entire history of our nation, we've had immigrants serving side by side with us. That when you get an honorable discharge, you have permanent residency, and what you do with that permanent residency, some decide to file for citizenship. That is their right and decision to do so. Why wouldn't we allow this to be the first and best pathway to citizenship? It won't be for everybody, it'll be for a small segment. But if you can't even start the conversation and agreeing that serving our country, putting your life on the line for this great nation is a great way to start, I think it is a difficult dialogue to have beyond that. We need to have a discussion about our dreamers that graduate today and have graduated recently. Should they be able to work in our community? Should they be able to get a work visa? Should they be able to go to our colleges? These are all questions that the Congress needs to have a discussion about. I even welcome the debate from those that would say, well, everything is amnesty, we need to deport. Fine. If that's the position that some extremists would take, then show us the appropriations bill. Show us your plan on what that would take, and let's have that debate. But it is time as a country to have an honest debate about immigration, about the future of our country, about the security of our borders, about the economic strength and the contribution that our immigrants make. We're a nation of immigrants, one that is built on a history of an American dream. And I think that this is our opportunity, this Independence Day, this year, to actually fix a broken immigration system that has gone on way too long, one that has been broken for decades and now is a multi-generational issue. If we're going to have the great nation that we have, it is because of that contribution from immigrants that have made this country great. And I think there's no more important fight to have. I'm willing to talk to anybody in our community. I am willing to go on every talk show and debate the most conservative or the most liberal. I know what I believe in, I know what I'm fighting for, and this is a fight worth winning. Our future of our country, I think, rests on what our immigration policy looks like in the future, and I think that we're going to get it done. So with that, I thank you. It's an honor to be here today, and let me answer any questions you might have for me.